Hey guys, welcome back. In today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to seal up your Snowglobe Tumbler. You'll know your tumbler is ready to seal when it's finished degassing and it has all these little bubbles that have come together at the top. This usually happens between 24 and 48 hours after you finish making your snow globe. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is take out your stopper or whatever you have that's blocking the hole. And then this part is personal preference, but it's always been a best practice of mine. I give it a little spritz with some 99% rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. And doing that will make those little bubbles disappear right before your eyes. So once you've spritzed the alcohol into the top of the tumbler, you just need to swirl it around really gently just until those micro bubbles have begun to pop. You may need to repeat this process more than once, and that's okay. You don't want to be putting too much rubbing alcohol in there, but as long as it's just a little spritz to get the micro bubbles popped, you'll be good to go. What you want to be left with is essentially one large bubble like you can see here, so that you can then top it up with solution and you'll have a bubble-free snow globe. It's worth noting you will never be able to get rid of every single tiny bubble of air within your snow globe tumblers. And that would actually be a completely unrealistic expectation. Obviously, the less air that you're left with at the end, the better, but equally, I don't mind having a small bubble. I actually like to leave a teeny tiny bubble because I just find it helps with the overall flow, the way with the air moving up and down inside the snow globe, it actually helps the glitter to move around. Another thing worth noting is that somehow, do not ask me how, I don't know the science, but snow globe solution evaporates even when you have finished and sealed your snow globe tumbler. Don't ask me where it evaporates to, but it does. So whilst it's important that you top it up as much as you can, do not panic if you can't get rid of every single tiny air bubble, because over time, it will reappear anyway. So once you've finished topping off your solution, it's time to put back in your stopper or whatever it is you're going to use to block the hole. Give the top of your tumbler a really good clean. I use the rubbing alcohol again. I just find that is the best way to get rid of any oils or debris or just bacteria or anything that might be left on the base of your tumbler before you go in with the UV resin. Before you put the UV resin on, it's a good idea to give the base of your tumbler a really good sand down, and that just helps rough it up a little bit and makes it a more porous area for the resin to adhere to. As you can see, I've just torn off a teeny tiny bit of that sandpaper sheet. You only need a little bit, and then just give it a really good scuff up. I have linked that sandpaper for you in the description box. So once you've finished sanding it down, you'll see it looks really scuffed up. It looks really messed up, just like this. But that's how it's supposed to look, because as soon as you cover it over with UV resin, all will be right with the world again. I'm using the Resin Rockers Hard Type UV resin. In my opinion, it's the best UV resin on the market. Resin Rockers is actually an American brand, and there are very few suppliers in the UK where you can get this from. My shop is one of them. As always, I've linked it in the description box for you. So the first step of sealing your tumbler with UV resin is just to do a really small coat over the actual stopper or over the hole. And this just acts as an extra safety barrier. The lighter just helps to pop any micro bubbles in the resin before you cure it. To cure your UV resin, you will need a UV lamp. You can get these from Amazon. I will link mine in the description box below. And as you can see, I've literally just used 2 old cup holders to prop it up with. And then we're just going to cure that for about 90 seconds. The Resin Rockers UV resin is very, very fast curing, and this is a very strong lamp, so it doesn't take long at all. And then when you take it out, you'll see it will be completely solid and it should have no tack to it. It shouldn't be sticky at all, and that's how you know it's fully cured. If you wanted to be super safe, you could leave it upside down like this overnight or for a few hours just to do a leak test, just to make sure that very first coat has cured and worked properly, sealed it up properly. Or if you feel comfortable with it, you can move on to the next step, which is to cover the whole base of the snow globe tumbler. I like to mix the UV resin with the same glitters that I've put inside the snow globe tumbler. It's just for completeness, and it gives the overall snow globe a much more polished look. All you need to do that is a disposable shot glass, your UV resin and whatever glitter you used, and literally just mix the UV resin with the glitter, just eyeball it, make sure it's all combined, and then when you're happy it's all mixed in, you can then put that onto the base of your snow globe tumbler and cover the whole area. I've sped this part up for you because I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but I wanted to keep all the footage in so that you could see exactly how I spread it all over and make sure there is full coverage. I actually didn't make up enough resin with the glitter for this, so you'll see in a minute I actually went back in and added a little bit more glitter, so that's what I mean when I say it is just trial and error or personal preference. You just eyeball it until you feel like you've got it right. The only thing I will say is if you do add too much glitter, the resin will struggle to cure. As long as you still have like a paste consistency between the resin and the glitter, then it will be fine. So then you're just going to repeat the process of curing that under your UV lamp. I would do this bit ever so slightly longer, depending on your lamp and your resin, but just keep curing it until it is completely solid with no tackiness, and it will look something like this. Now would be the time to add your care instructions or your logo. You obviously don't have to add anything to the bottom of the tumbler, but if you're going to, then you need to do that now. The one I have here is a UVDTF form, so it's my logo, and around it it says not dishwasher safe, not microwave safe, that kind of thing. And then you just need to do the final coat of UV resin. So this is just covering the whole of the rest of the base. Doesn't need to be too thick as long as it fully covers the rest of the base of the tumbler. Most UV resin is self-leveling, so if you just leave it for 10-20 seconds or so, it will just level itself out so it's flat, but you can also do what I'm doing here and just push it to the edges so it's nice and neat. And that also ensures a full and smooth bottom of your tumbler. If during this process you encounter any micro bubbles, you can just get your lighter, run it quickly over the bottom of the resin just to pop them before you cure it again. You might want to give it one last clean up before you put it under the lamp to cure, just to get rid of any resin that may have like spilled over onto the edges, because if that's still there when it's cured and it goes solid, you're on the risk of a wobbly bottom. And then it's the last cure under the UV lamp, and then that is pretty much it. It should be nice and smooth like this. If it feels like there's no tack to it and it's completely hard when you tap on it, that's it. If you're anything like me, you've probably made an absolute mess, so now would be the time to clean up. This is the final result. If you would like to see a video on how I made this snow globe tumbler and how you can make a tumbler like this, just watch the previous video. And as always, if you found this helpful and you enjoyed this tutorial, then please remember to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.